Hello student, good morning. I hope you all will be safe and sound. As we have discussed the first chapter in the history and we have just completed. So we are going to start, that is about the second chapter, that is from trade to territory. The company establishes power. It means to say here that as we all know that at first the British, mainly the British East India Company, it came to our country only for doing the trade. Now, in this one chapter, we will discuss how the trade it turned into to capturing the area or region of the country. So, in this one, how the East India Company it establishes its power in the different provinces over our country. So, without further ado, we will have a discussion over it. So, what they have given here, see, that is Aurangzeb, who was the last of the powerful Mughal ruler. As they have given here the example, the last most powerful Mughal ruler, that is about Aurangzeb. He established control over a large part of the territory that is now known as India. As he expanded, mainly they have given about the Aurangzeb here. So he just expanded his this one control over the large part of Indian territories, large part of the Indian provinces, and now it is came to be known as India. So after his death in 1707, many Mughal governors, Subadars, and big Jamidars began asserting their authority and establishing regional kingdoms. So after this one, what happened? They have given here after the death of the Aurangzeb in the year of 1707. So after this one, whoever the Mughal governors were appointed at that time, these came to be known as Subadar. These Mughal governors at that time, these were known as Subadars. These and whoever the big landlords, big Jamidars were there, they began asserting their authorities. Whatever the authorities were given by the Mughal emperors at that time to them, so they began to just try to control themselves and establishing their own regional kingdoms. As powerful regional kingdoms emerged in various parts of India, Delhi could no longer function as an effective center. So after this one, they have given here that as powerful regional kingdoms, as I have already explained this thing, that whoever the Jamidars were there, whoever the governors were there, Subadars were there, what they did, they just established their powers in their regional kingdoms, in their areas or in their provinces. So what happened after this one? These new regional kingdoms emerged, they came into the existence in the different parts of the country. And what happened in the Delhi? The Delhi could no longer function as an effective center. Even that has been given here. By the second half of the 18th century, however, a new power was emerging on the political horizon, the British. So by the second half, that is after the second half of the 18th century, what happened? A new kind of the power that emerged in our country on the political horizon, on the political basis, that is mainly the power that is British. Then, did you know that the British originally came as a small trading company and were reluctant to acquire territories? As we all know that at first, when the British East India Company came to our country in 1600, so at that time it was a very small trading company. It's only one purpose, one aim, one goal, that is to do the trade with the eastern country. Okay, so at the starting time, it didn't want, reluctant means not willing to acquire its power, its territories. Okay, then how then did they come to be masters of vast empire? So how the Britishers, they became the controller of the vast, a huge empire of the Indian territories. In this chapter, we will see how this came about. And in this one chapter, we will have a discussion over these all the things. And here the downside, they have shown the one peak over there. So this peak, mainly the Bahadur Shah Zafar and his sons being arrested by the Captain Hudson. Okay, they have been arrested by them. Then after this one here, they have given East India Company comes east. Okay, here the left side, they have shown the map of the world In this one, you can see routes to India in the 18th century. How the European continent's countries, how they used to come to the eastern countries, mainly in India. These routes have been shown over there. Okay, so what they have given here, see, in 1600, the East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I. At that time, so in England, mainly in Britain, it was ruling, and it was the means mainly by the Queen Elizabeth I. She was the ruler over there, and they got one kind of charter. Charter means proclamation letter. In 1600, this company got, this East India Company, granting it the sole right to trade with the East. And this particular company got all the rights to do the trades in the eastern countries. Okay, then this means that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. It means to say no other trading company, whatever the trading companies at that time that were existed in the mainly in the Europe, mainly in the Britain, so they could not do any kind of the competition with the East India Company. With the charter, the company could venture across the ocean. With this one proclamation letter, which has been given by the Queen Elizabeth I to this company. So what happened after this one? This company mainly, so it just moved towards the eastern countries. Then looking for new land from which it could buy goods at a cheap price and carry them back to the Europe to sell at a higher price. So this company mainly, it wanted to a new land from where they can just purchase, and they can just purchase the goods in a very cheap rates, in a very cheap prices, and they can carry these all the things back to the European countries and to sell there at a higher prices, mean to say for getting the higher profits. Then the company did not have to fear competition from other English trading companies. As we all know that has been the company, it didn't have any kind of the competition with any other trading company from the Europe. So that is why this company just didn't get any kind of the fear, any kind of threat from any other European trading company. Then mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition so that they could buy cheap and sell theirs. So here they have given whatever the mercantile trading companies were there. Mercantile mean to say, the left side you can see the meaning has been given, a business enterprise that makes profit primarily through trade, buying goods cheap and selling them at a higher price. These are known as the mercantiles. This is the business enterprise. So whatever these trading companies in those days, so what they were doing, they were making so much profit at the starting by excluding competition, because there wasn't any competition, so they could buy cheap and sell there. So they could purchase the things in a very cheap price and they can just sell them in the higher price. Dear mean to say in the higher prices. The Royal Charter, however, could not prevent other European powers from entering the eastern market. So whatever the proclamation letter has been issued by the Queen Elizabeth I, so it didn't just stop the other European powers from entering to the eastern market. Mean to say the other companies also enter in the eastern markets, mainly to say in the eastern part of the world, mainly in India, in other Asian continents country. Then by the time the first English ship sailed down the west coast of Africa round of the Cape of Good Hope and crossed the Indian Ocean, the Portuguese had already established their presence in the western coast of India and had their base in Goa. So after this one, what happened? They have given the first English ships, whoever the British ships who were there, they sailed down to the west coast of the Africa. They came to our country by the west coast of Africa, around the Cape of the Good Hope, and then crossed the Indian Ocean. And the Portuguese has already established their presence in the western coast of India that had their base in Goa. As we all know that the one of the Portuguese, you might have heard the name of this Portuguese, that is Vasco da Gama, who just discovered the sea route of India in the year of 1498. So same like this, they have also established their trades Mainly they have made their base in the Goa. So the Britishers also came like this to our country. Then after this one, in fact, it was Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, who had discovered the sea route of India in 1498, as I have already told to you. Okay, by the early 17th century, the Dutch too were exploring the possibilities of trade in the Indian Ocean. So they have given by the starting in the beginning of the 17th century as well, the Dutch, they also were exploring the possibilities to do the trade in the Indian Ocean. Soon the French traders arrive on the scene, and soon the other, like that they have given about the French traders, they also came and they also try to do the trade with the eastern countries. Then the problem was that all the companies were interested in buying the same thing. So now it has created, because as we have read in the this one in the above paragraph, that all the companies, they wanted to just purchase the things in a very cheap price, and they wanted to sell them in the high prices. So what happened after this one? The problem raised over there that all the companies were interested to buying the same thing. They wanted to purchase the same thing. Then the fine quality of cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe. That in the previous classes, as we have read, and in this one chapter, in upcoming chapters, we will more discuss about the silk production. So the fine quality of cotton and silk, it was having a huge demand in the European market. Okay, pepper, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon also were in a great demand in the European market. These are all are the spices. These were also in the great demand in the European market. Then competition among us, the European companies, inevitably pushed up the prices at which these goods could be purchased. So as now many of the companies, they came towards the eastern, mainly in the Indian subcontinent. So what happened then? There was a competition among these all the companies, and after having the competition in these companies, definitely there was a rising in the prices at which these prices could be purchased. Means earlier we could get these things in a lower price. Now the competition has reached, and as well as the prices also reached. Then, and this reduce the profit that could be earned. And definitely if you are just purchasing anything, buying anything in a high price, so definitely it has reduced the profits that could be earned by these companies. Then the only way the trading companies could flourish was by eliminating rival competitors. So the only way, whatever the trading companies at that time they were there, so they could flourish, they could make their progress, they could more earn the things by eliminating rival competitors. Whoever the competitor companies were there, by eliminating them, by removing them. Okay, then the urge to secure markets therefore led to price battles between the trading companies. Then what happened? For the same thing, for eliminating, for removing them in the race of the competition, so between the trading companies, the wars began, the battles between the trading companies. Through the 17th and 18th century, they regularly sank each other's ships, blockaded routes, and prevented rival ships from moving with the supply of goods. So for this one, what they did for just eliminating these all the companies, so what they did, they just regularly these companies, they regularly sank each other ships. एक दूसरे के जहाजों को पानी में डुबो दो भाई, कुछ ऐसी means these all of the things were done by them. Blockaded routes, whatever the routes were there for coming of the ships, for doing the trade, for exporting or importing, these were blockaded, and prevented rival ships from moving with the supply of goods. Then what happened after this one? Trade was carried on with arms, and trading posts were protected through fortification. Then what happened? Whatever the trade, it was carried on with the arms, with the help of the weapons, and the trading posts were protected. Whatever the trading posts were there from where they used to do the trade, they used to import or export the things. These areas were protected by doing the fortification, by making them castle or forts. Then this effort is 45 settlement and carried on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with local rulers. So whatever this thing, this 45 settlement was done by them, it also carried the profitable trade, also led to the insane conflict with the local rulers, whoever the local rulers were there in these regions. So there was also the debate and conflict with these rulers. Then the company therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics. Let us see how this happened. Then East India Company began trade in Bengal. How the in the Bengal, how this particular East India Company, this British company, how it has just expanded its trade in the Bengal. The first English factory was set up on the bank of the river Hooghly in 1651. That is at the time. At present, the Hooghly River, that is in West Bengal, mainly near to the Kolkata. So earlier it was also the part of Bengal Presidency. So the English factory that was established by the company, first factory that was established in the year of 1651. This was the base from which the company traders, known at the time as factors. So this was the base, mainly this was the starting in which the company traders, they came to be known as the factors, okay, operated. Then the factory had a warehouse where goods for export were stored. Warehouse means to say where they can just store the goods for exporting, okay, for just sending them to the another countries. And it had offices where company officials sat. As trade expanded, the company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near to the factory. So as their trade, it has been flourished, it has been expanded. The company just persuaded, company just made agree to the merchants and the traders to come and settle nearby the factories. By 1696, it began building a fort around the settlement. So by 1696, so the company, it just started to construct a building fort around the settlement. 2 years later, it bribed Mughal officials into giving the company jamidari right over the 3 villages, and bribed. 2 years after 2 years, what the company did, it has given the bribe to those Mughal officials for giving the company the jamidari rights over the 3 villages. Bribe means to say that is घूस देके, means कुछ पैसा देके उनसे क्या करके negotiate करके, and the company just took the charge over the 3 villages. Then one of these was that is Kalikata, which later grew into the city of Calcutta or Kolkata as it is known today. The company also persuaded the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a farman. Farman means to say a royal order. This is called farman. Okay, to issue a royal order granting the company the right to trade duty-free. So the company also persuaded this Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to make the trade duty-free, means say tax-free. Then the company tried continuously to press for more concessions and manipulate existing privileges. So the company, it again tried continuously to press more for the concessions, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा छूट मिले भाई, and to manipulate existing privileges and whatever the existing rights they wanted to get, that is special rights, so to get for it. Then Aurangzeb's Farman, for example, they have given the Farman of the Aurangzeb had granted only the company the right to trade duty-free. So whatever the Farman, whatever the royal order has been passed by him, so it has made the company's trade duty-free. But officials of the company who were carrying on private trade on the side were expected to pay duty. But whoever the other officials of the company who were carrying their own private trade, individual trade, so they were expected to pay the duty, to pay the taxes. So then this they refused to pay, causing an enormous loss of revenue for Bengal. And how could the Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan, not protested? So now they have given about the Murshid Quli Khan. So whatever the loss causing of the loss of revenue for the Bengal, because it has made, that is about the duty-free trade for the company. So definitely, whatever the income of the Bengal presidency at the time, it has fall down, it has collapsed. Then how could the Nawab of Bengal, Murshid Quli Khan, not protested? So this thing has been given. How trade led to the battles. So here you will come to know how the trade it turned into the battle. Through the early 18th century, the conflict between the company and the Nawabs of Bengal that is intensified. After the death of Aurangzeb, the Bengal Nawabs arrested their power and autonomy as other regional powers were doing at that time. So what happened that in the beginning of the 18th century, what happened at that time, the conflicts between the company and whoever the Nawabs of the Bengal, it intensified. After the death of the Aurangzeb, in the year of 1707, when he got died, the Bengal Nawabs, whoever the Nawab of the Bengal, he was arrested their power and autonomy as other regional powers were doing at that time. Okay, his power has been asserted, it has been taken away. Then Murshid Quli Khan was followed by Alivardi Khan. These were the Nawabs of the Bengal at that time. Okay, so the Murshid Quli Khan, after this one Alivardi Khan, and then Siraj-ud-Dawla as a Nawab of Bengal. Each one of them was a strong ruler. Okay, they all were very strong rulers over there. They refused to grant the company concession, demanded large tributes for the company's right to trade, and demand it any right to mint coins and stop it from extending its fortification. So whoever these other Nawabs of the Bengal, they have given, that is Murshid Quli Khan, Alivardi Khan and the Siraj-ud-Dawla, what they did, they refused. They didn't give any kind of the grant, they didn't give any kind of the right to the company for concession. कोई छूट नहीं दी उनने, and demanded a large tributes, and they demanded to the company to pay the large tribute, means huge taxes the company will have to pay, and as well as what they given there that denied it any right to mint coins, and whatever the rights they were minting the coins, it has been denied, it has been refused, and as well as stopped it from extending its fortification, the company mainly. Okay, then what happened after this one? Accusing the company of, that is decide, they claimed that the company was depriving the Bengal government of huge amount of revenue and undermining the authority of the Nawabs. So the company, whatever the company rules and regulations, whatever the company was doing at that time, so it has been just watched, it has been just inspected, and what the Nawab told, the authority of the Nawab, so the company is just undermining the orders of the Nawabs, as well as, so whatever the revenue of the Bengal government, so it has been taken, and it had taken by the company, so it was refusing to pay taxes, writing disrespectful letters, and trying to humiliate the Nawabs and his officials. So it has been written for the company, that is, the company was refusing to pay the taxes, not paying the taxes, writing the disrespectful letters to the Nawabs and officials, and trying to humiliate the Nawabs and his officials. Then the company on its part declared that the unjust demand for the local officials were ruining the trade of the company, and trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. Then the company on its part, on its own favor, the company, what it did, it declared that the unjust demand, whatever the unfair demands of the local officials were there, it is main reason to ruin. To ruin means to fall down. But it is just falling, it is the main reason to fall down of the trade of the company, and the trade could flourish, the trade could progress, the trade could be expanded only if the duties were removed. It was also convinced that to expand the trade, it had to enlarge its settlement by villages and rebuild its fort. So the company also convinced to the Nawabs to expand its trade. They had to enlarge its settlement. They have to just expand their settlement and buying up the villages, just control over the villages and rebuild its fort. The conflict led to confrontation and finally culminated in the famous Battle of Plassey. Then what happened? This conflict It continued with the company. So at last, it led to the famous Battle of Plassey. The Battle of Plassey they have given now. That we will discuss in the next video. Okay.